Hi, everyone. It's Kat. Thanks so much for joining me again today. Originally, I was hoping to jump on here and maybe share another meditation or movement exercise, but something happened earlier this week that made me want to switch gears. Well, not really switch gears, but build a little bit on my last video before sharing some more movement and meditation practices with you. So I don't know if the same happened to you all, but I guess it was 2 or 3 days ago, maybe. I received a bunch of emails saying, it's National Relaxation Day, happy National Relaxation Day, which I honestly did not know was a thing. But basically, the emails were all sent with the best of intentions, but the basic idea was it's National Relaxation Day. Let's celebrate by, purchasing this product or this service that you can use to help relax, which, there's nothing wrong with that. I do, sometimes feel like we have maybe overly commercialized the idea of relaxing and self care, giving ourselves the idea that we need to purchase things or go do certain activities um, in order to relax, which all of those, there's nothing wrong with them and they can absolutely support you in your relaxation. But there's definitely more to the picture, right? And so as I started thinking about this, I was thinking about how the word relax or the idea of relaxation can actually be kind of loaded. It can be a loaded term. Um, in some ways, it can be, I think a lot of us have a very positive association with the idea of relax or relaxation. It kind of gives us thoughts or inspires thoughts of taking a day off, maybe doing a fun activity that we don't usually indulge in, something along those lines. But also, sometimes, relax or relaxation can be used in a negative way. One that kind of pushes my buttons is when somebody says, why are you so upset? Just relax or calm down or something along those lines, where it's sort of kind of almost, it sounds like a flip, a switch that we should be able to flip, right? Um, Kind of invalidating our feelings in a way, right? And saying, like, you just need to relax. And thinking of it in that way probably doesn't feel so good. And then to kind of expand on that even more, a lot of us may have some stories, positive, but also hesitate or I would hazard to guess probably more negative, if you have grown up in Western culture and lived a lot of your life in Western culture. Um, as good of an idea as relaxation might sound, I think a lot of us have stories around that are somewhat negative, because we place a lot of value on our ability to be active, be busy, successful, produce, and keep going, going, going. And we may associate, slowing down or relaxing, taking time for relaxation or vacation. We may equate that with being lazy or unproductive. And while we may not necessarily think about that consciously, I do think that that maybe informs a lot of our choices around how often and maybe even whether or not we take time during the day to take a break, even take a nap if we need it, or say, this is, I just need a mental health day, or a day just to catch up on personal tasks that I'm not getting to because work's been particularly busy. So I think it just gives us a lot to think about how maybe complex the idea of uh, allowing relaxation into our lives and then even knowing how to relax can be. Because, if you are someone that really ties a lot of value to um, what you're doing on a daily basis, you may feel like you're falling short. If you take downtime, and you may have maybe distanced yourself from what that even looks like for you. So part of what I wanted to talk about was how to think about bringing that back into your life. Now, one part of that probably would be working through any of the stories that you might have around relaxation, and there's a lot of ways that you can do that. One would be journaling. Journaling is a great way, just for any kind of self reflection, self exploration. So, writing down things like, What did my family teach me about relaxation? What did the society or the town or the city that I grew up in teach me about relaxation? What kind of messages am I getting about, relaxation versus work and productivity in my current life? And kind of just thinking through a little bit about the things that kind of the things that inform our actions and decisions on a daily basis, but that we may not spend time really diving into. So you can do some of that work on your own, and that can be really valuable. Or if it's something that feels a little more challenging to do on your own, or if you're just not really sure where to start, seeking out a good counselor, so a social worker like myself, or a psychologist, or a life coach, or if you have maybe a religious counselor or clergy member or someone along those lines that you feel particularly comfortable with. Who can, lead you through, maybe give you some of those prompts and have those conversations with you, can be really helpful. But if you are someone who's ever engaged in any kind of therapy, spiritual exploration, self reflection, self study, you know that sometimes that can take a long time, right? And there's a lot of value in that, because as you go through different stages of exploration, or even life stages, depending on how long that journey takes, you can just keep, peeling back more and more layers. And so there's a lot of value to going through that over a longer period of time, because it probably, if you're just kind of rushing through it, you may not really get to the meat of what you need to work through, or maybe like reframe, rewire, to make lasting changes. But in conjunction with that, bringing in things like body work, breath work, meditation, massage, mindfulness practices can be really helpful, not to short circuit, that path, that progress that you might be making, in terms of working through some of the mental and emotional rewiring. But I feel like it really helps us when we can, bring our body into the mix, because it allows us to, I think, feel better. So if we're struggling, and this applies to any area, if we're struggling, but we can find something that's, I don't want to say like an immediate fix, but something that can help you experience at least like a little bit of that change or that shift that you're looking for, it can be really exciting, inspiring, motivating. And I really do think that it's also crucial for lasting change. Therapy and therapeutic work is very, very important, because we do spend a lot of time in our mind. But like I said, we're missing a huge piece if we're not working with the body. So some ways that may be helpful, like I said, are working with the breath. So some of the techniques that I've been teaching you, or finding a meditation practice that can be really helpful. Movement practices, and that can be yoga, tai chi, or even dance is a great one too. So any kind of movement that really feels good to you, that gets you into your body. And like I said, even going and getting a massage or acupuncture or other kind of body work can be really helpful, because I always reflect back on something that was said to me by my doula, also known as a birth coach, that I worked with when I was pregnant with my first child. So as I was preparing for the birth of my first child, and I was making my birth plan, it was very clear to me that I wanted to try to avoid having an epidural. And that's not because I have anything against them. It's just because, number one, I usually don't have an issue with needles, but the thought of having one in my back really creeped me out. So I just did not love that idea. But also it was because I'm very much a kinesthetic learner. I'm somebody that feels better when I'm moving. I knew that I wanted that to be an option when I was in labor and giving birth. I didn't, because usually if you have an epidural, you can't leave your bed. So I wanted to have the option to get up and move around. Because for me, just being still just sounded very torturous. But something that was really important that the doula said to me was, you have to teach your body to relax. And I was, it was sort of like a light bulb moment for me, because I never really thought about it before. But because we're not super great at relaxing in our culture, we do need to teach ourselves how to do that. And that part of it does start with our body because, I think most of us who have any knowledge of how the body works knows that when we're stressed or when we're tense, when we're in pain, we tend to do things like tense our muscles. Our respiration becomes more shallow, our heartbeat gets more rapid. We tend to secrete certain hormones like adrenaline and cortisol into our bloodstream that are all helpful if we're, in some kind of danger. But when we're operating that way all the time, our body doesn't. It sort of like loses a sense of how to get more into that relaxation mode. And so, going into birthing, where I was hoping to avoid pain medication, I knew that I needed to practice how to keep my muscles nice and relaxed, how to keep myself from holding my breath or hyperventilating when things were getting intense. And so if you just wait until you're in an intense moment, it can be really hard to pull that up versus if you've trained your body enough that you almost that can be sort of an autopilot thing to happen. It can be really helpful. And so that kind of summarizes basically what I wanted to say today. Like I said, I'm going to be coming back to share more kind of hands-on or practical ways to, get into your body, to move, to relax, to ground. But I just wanted to talk about this idea of relaxation a little bit because I think we're very lucky, especially having the internet, that there's so many resources out there for relaxation, and there's definitely a lot of products and services available. But we can't always experience the benefit of those if we don't do the work that's needed mentally and emotionally, but also making some of these things a regular practice for ourselves, whatever that is, whatever feels best to you. But not saving those for vacation, not saving those for when you're have had a really bad week at work and you just need to relax, bringing them into our lives in a regular way so that they don't feel so out of reach when we really need them. And hopefully, if we're also engaging, with them on a regular basis, we're less likely to get to that point of urgency. Um, and so that's all I really have to say today. If you have any thoughts or any questions, I'd love to hear them. Please feel free to post below. And if there's anything else, anything that you are curious to learn about or know about, please let me know. And I'm happy to make a video about it. Take care and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.